All right, it's Lindsay. It's Monday, April 28th, 2025. And something I forgot to mention that happened yesterday that I forgot to talk about, and now that I'm remembering, is I went to the Dollar Tree here in East Side over on East Commerce and what was it? East New Braunfels yesterday. And this was in the afternoon. And actually, did I go? At first, I had gone to the HEB, and then I went over there to the Dollar Tree for a minute. And I meant, okay, so now all of a sudden in that parking lot, they have like all the security. They have this satellite thing, and they've got security guards working in there now. And I guess obviously because it's a bad and not a very good part of town, and the necessity for security in the parking lots and in that store is necessary because I think a lot of shoplifting goes on there, obviously, or things going on in that parking lot. It used to be really bad. A lot of panhandling, a lot of people, just stuff going on in that parking lot over there at East Houston, or East Commerce, and New Braunfels, North New Braunfels, the HEB, and the Dollar Tree parking lot, and the Dollar Tree across the street. So yesterday I went into the Dollar Tree after I went to the HEB, and so there's usually only one person at the cash register all the time. There's only one register open. Usually the store is very low on merchandise. A lot of the times, most of the time, like I guess they got some new stuff in because they finally had some new merchandise, but usually for the past couple weeks they've had almost nothing. It's been like the shelves have been really like sparse. And yesterday I went in there and I'm looking around getting some items, and I'm carrying it because I didn't see any baskets. They don't. These little green baskets are kind of like not anywhere to be found usually. They're very inconspicuous, and so I was walking around with the stuff in my hands, and an employee comes up to me and says, "Do you need a basket? Are you okay?" I was like, "Oh, well, I think I'm okay." He's like, I said, "But I guess." He's like, "Yeah, I got you." So it's short, this Hispanic guy, probably, maybe about 5'6", 5'5", I don't know, Hispanic guy, young man. So he comes back and gives me a little basket, a green basket. I said, "Thank you very much. I appreciate it." So I continued, I put the things in my basket, continue walking around, shopping. And then I'm on the aisle looking at some, they have an aisle that has like bread and salt, condiments, salt, pepper, just random food items. And I'm looking at this stuff. And he comes up to me and he says, "Do you know where I can buy a bag of weed?" And I said, "No." I was like, I said, I don't know. I said, I don't know. I said, "I don't have any. Maybe my neighbors or something." I said, "I don't know." He's like, "Okay, thank you." I'm like, why would he? But anyway, he was asking me if I knew where he could buy some marijuana, just a bag of marijuana. And I'm like, okay, I did. And I had on that red T-shirt that I just, for whatever, I don't know, I haven't worn it in a long time. It's been probably almost 2 years since I put that T-shirt on. I had on that T-shirt that's like that Formula Ford racing car T-shirt. It's like a red T-shirt with a little Formula F Ford on it. And I got that shirt a ways back off this TeePublic thing online, and the reason I got inspired to get that was because when I had that conversation with Bob Quinn in Beaumont, who was friends with my dead father, Alan Baldwin, father, uncle, whatever I still think he's my father. When I had that conversation with him, he was telling me, and he was talking about how Alan was into Formula Ford racing. And I was like, okay, I didn't know that, but he was into that kind of thing. So I found that T-shirt, and I just got that and wanted to get that in memory of Alan having been a fan of Formula Ford racing, or having been part of that when he was younger. Is a little bit of a token of my respect, I guess you could say. But anyway, I had that T-shirt on yesterday at the Dollar Tree, and just some gray Old Navy shorts on, But then here's what happened, which was kind of funny. This is my point, is that I've talked about how I say a lot of things out loud in this house in the mornings, and what I talk out loud to myself all the time and say things, and I know they listen to everything I say. I know that because I can tell from the way they gang stalk me and all the street theater that they're listening to what I'm talking about in my house, because that's how they plan their little skits out in public at the gym and whatnot. That's how they do this, by monitoring you illegally, invading your privacy so that they can send out the right kind of gang stalkers to try to shame you or let you know that you're being monitored. That's how these government agencies operate, the NSA and whatnot, fusion centers, all that shit. So so all of a sudden I'm in the aisle, about ready to check out, buy the items, and then I remember I wanted to get I forgot something, so I went back to the aisle, and meanwhile I can hear an argument escalating, a conversation kind of / argument escalating amongst the security guard guy, and I don't know what company, because it just says security on their outfit. It doesn't say, I don't know what security company these men work for or whatever, but it just says security. And this guy, he looks to be Hispanic or something. He's wearing a cap. He has kind of longish, black, curly, wavy hair, brownish black hair. He's probably Hispanic, or I'm not sure. But he was in an argument with this black man on the aisle where they have the makeup and and deodorant and whatnot. Apparently that man was trying to steal something. He's like, I saw you, bro. I saw you, what you did. Put it back. They're arguing. He's like, I didn't do it. I did it for my wife. Ask my wife. He kept saying, ask my wife, or my wife's right out there. No. So this little argument amongst the black man and the security guard was going on because that black man apparently was shoplifting and got caught shoplifting right there on the Dollar Tree. So first I have an employee ask me if I have any marijuana, or if I know where he can get some. And I didn't get offended. Big deal. He seems like a nice guy, but I can tell you that was a setup. They probably wanted me to respond like, oh, yeah, I let me give you so-and-so. I don't take my phone with me in these places, but I'm thinking, what do they want me to say? Like, let me go get my phone and see if I can find a contact to give you. Or, how are you supposed to respond to something like that when it's an employee who I don't know this guy? I've seen him there a lot when I go there. I don't know him. But you see, it's kind of like he's doing that. There's surveillance cameras in the store. But he did it real, like, just kind of whispering to me, like, but these are the things that you don't do when you're an employee. I don't care. That's a corporate company, right? You can't do these kinds of things working in a job. You can't start talking about marijuana. If marijuana is illegal, which I think it is, you're not supposed to be doing that when you're on the clock or at a job. I thought, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought that those kinds of things were, like, not acceptable to do in a work environment. But whatever. So that happened, and I was just like, I was caught off guard. I was like, what the fuck? I was kind of like, did he just do what I think he did? It's like, how are you gonna really respond to that? I could have said, what the fuck are you doing, dude? You work here. Are you a dope head? I didn't do that. I'm not gonna do that, but I could have and cause a scene. But I'm not going to do that because he seems like a nice man, a nice person, a decent person. And another thing is, just because people smoke pot doesn't mean that they can't do their job. I know that there's plenty of people who can take hemp oil or smoke some marijuana or eat these gummies and they're fine. They can function just fine at their job. Plenty of people it just depends on the person's physiological body as far as how they react to different substances or drugs or whatever. Everybody's different. So some people you would never know that they smoke pot, or what I mean? Doesn't mean a fucking thing. Other people act. You can tell that but you can tell when a lot of times around certain people what, like maybe if they're really hyperactive, they're probably on meth, or they're probably on cocaine or some kind of speed or something, or some kind of medication like Adderall or something that gets them all hyper. They act very just hyper and kind of like fidgety, and that kind of is indicative of maybe they're on meth or something, some kind of prescription medication. Or because people who are stoned or smoke pot, I know from my own past experiences, they're just usually really kind of laid back and kind of mellow acting. They're kind of more like they don't give a shit attitude. Like they don't really, you know what I mean? They're just sort of like blending in and not really. It's not that kind of high where you're like hyperactive, I don't think. At least that's not what I would get. You get paranoid. You can get paranoid depending on what you smoke or what you do. I don't smoke it at all anymore. I can't because it hurts my lungs and I don't really have the desire to. But I think it's okay to take hemp oil or CBD oil or eat a gummy thing every once in a while. But if people want to do that vaping stuff or I really don't care. I really don't care, but what I care about is if they're trying to get me in trouble and frame me for something that I'm not doing to make me look incompetent or incapacitated, when in fact that's not reality. But as far as what people want to do with their own body, that should be their own decision. It really doesn't make a difference to me. But people who act violently on certain drugs, which some people like meth. If you've been around somebody who's high on meth and whatnot, these kinds of drugs, those people have a real violent streak. And maybe if they're really high on cocaine, some of those people can be very violent and aggressive and dangerous. Those are the people who I would be worried about as far as my safety. Not somebody who's smoking a little bit of marijuana, to be honest with you. Even though I'm not condoning it and saying, hey, you're so cool, no. I'm just saying that there's a different kind of way that they usually behave as opposed to someone on something else, I think, in my opinion. But so that happened, and I was just like, that was kind of strange, and I knew it was a setup. I can guarantee you that all of that happened in there, it was staged. I believe that all the thing with the shop, I think that was maybe staged as well. I don't know, maybe that was not, but it was a black man caught shoplifting. But all of it felt like it was trying to get me to react. I felt like, because I was the only person in there besides a few other people, I kind of felt like they were trying to get me to react in a way that could discredit me or something, is how it felt. So I had to add that to what happened yesterday, and that was on Sunday, April 27th, 2025 in the afternoon over there in San Antonio Shopping Center, Dollar Tree, East Commerce Street.